Okay, Brayden, we're going to go through your video analysis. We're going to run through it at regular speed, and then I'm going to break it down. So let's take a look at your skating here. All right, you're backwards. Let's take a look at your crossovers. All right, the other side. Just go one hand on that side. You don't need two hands. Okay, and then let's see your hockey stops. One, okay, two, and three. All right, so let's take a look here. So far so good. You're really low, and you've got really quick feet, but we want you to try to start in a V diamond and get your heels together, right? So I drew the V on the ice, but you're not touching your heels, right? So if you don't practice touching your heels, they don't magically come in. There's no magic dust that we can sprinkle on you to get your heels together. So you got to try to keep your heels together when you start. All right, one of the things we want you to do is try to get up on your toes, which you're a little young for, but you'll understand. Now, this is a good extension, right? You're locking that leg, that tendon guard pressing the back of your leg, right? This little flap here. See that little flap? That's what we call the tendon guard. You pressed it really nicely, but then you didn't bring your feet in, right? And one of the things I'm hearing, you can't hear it because you're going to hear my voice, is you're kind of stomping. All right, when we push, we don't want to hear stomping, we want to hear cutting. But you see how your feet don't really come back under your core? Okay, and your core is where your belly button is, right? It's if you put your fist on your belly button, you'd make like a power pack. That's what we call our power pack. That circle is about 3 inches in diameter. Maybe for you 2.5 because your fist is a little smaller. But we want to bring our feet back under our core, right? So when we start our push, and I'll explain this in a way you can understand, right? There's my core. Here's my V. Okay, when I start my push, I start from the heel because the heel, if you think about it in the V, starts under our core. And then as I push through and through and through, I can't reach with the heel anymore. I got to finish off the inside edge of the toe, which is what you're doing. However, your thing is, and I'm going to erase some of these, you push, but then you're not coming all the way back under your core. So you kind of step and then push because that's where I'm hearing the stomping. Okay, so watch, you step and then you finish your push and you step, see? And it's more so, I think, on see how wide your feet are now, right? More so on when you're pushing off your right than your left. When you push off you push off your left, you step on your right, but you never pull your left leg in. See how it comes up? So your feet are pretty wide. So the best drill for you is drag touch. And if you go to a public session or something with mom or dad, you can bring 2 skate laces and tie each lace in a loop, and you hold them, and they can just hold the back end, and they can pull you. That you can pull them and do drag touch for resistance. That'll help. But the more you practice touching your heels, the closer your feet will come. Okay, now I don't know if arm swing is new to you. Okay, because I know when I taught cross ice mites, all the coaches on the other benches would be yelling two hands, and I'd be yelling one hand because I knew if you swing your arms, you get to the puck faster, and the fastest mite always gets the puck. Okay, so we want you to swing your arms front to back. See how you're going side to side, right? And this stick, when you punch the stick arm out, the stick ends up like this, out to the side. Your stick's coming across your body. So we want you to think about having a plate of glass down the middle of your body, and your arm swing's got to stay on that side of the glass. It shouldn't come across your body. So yours is coming across. See, I see your hand over here on this side, and then your other hand goes all the way across your body. So you've got a little bit of a twist going on. All right, so drag touch, very important. Try to get that palm up, and we want the palm to be the high point, not your elbow, right? See how your elbow is really high? Okay, now let's go to backwards. So you went to two hands here. There's no reason to go to two hands. Just back up and go one hand because now at least you have a chance of stealing the puck. Your stick's off the ice. How are you going to steal the puck? Right? So make sure that stick's on the ice, right? And when you back up, we get one big powerful crossover and then work on those C cuts, right? Now again, not coming back under our core. All right, so we got to make the L. We got to push up and around. We got to repivot the heel and then pull it all the way back in. Try to get those feet to come in as close as possible. Now, at full speed, we're never going to touch, but we want them to come back under our core, right? So if you watch again, and I zoom in, you never bring your feet in. You got all these little tiny pushes. And like I said, you got very quick feet, but now you got to start working on some power. Okay? So, all right. Good crossover there. Okay. Now let's take a look at your crossovers. Now on this side, we can have two hands, but I want to show you something. See how? Because you'll understand this. You actually understood a lot and answered a lot of questions. See what's under your shoulders here? Nothing but ice. And I'm not really sure why your stick is like that. Try to keep the stick heel on the ice. Okay, so I'm going to put it in a way you can understand this. If you cut your body in half, the upper body has to lean out and the lower body has to lean in. What I want you to do is see if you can find some pictures of downhill skiers going around those gates. They go around those gates 90 miles an hour. If you look at their knee bend, and when I mean a gate, like a cone, right? Go around these gates. When they go around that turn, I want you to take a look at how much they lean their lower body in, right? See this red arrow here? And then how much they lean their upper body out. Because we're very similar, the only difference is our blades aren't as long, okay? So we want to get two solid pushes here. You're getting the first one, which is a stride, right? But we're kind of slipping on the X, and I'll show it to you here. Watch. Right there. See the slip? Right there. See how the toe went down? And the heel is up. All right, we want you to try to get your heel down and toe up. That way we can get the blade parallel and finish the push. Okay? Now, when you have to think of two things when you're crossing over, okay? With the upper body, okay, we have to lean out with the upper body. We want our shoulders level. I'll back you up a little bit because you can see it right here. But we can turn the chest in. So that means the stick is going to be almost like it's dragging behind you. Okay, and the bottom hand on your stick is always the adjustment stick. It's got to be able to slide up and down. All right, the top hand's not going to change, but the bottom hand's going to slide up and down. All right, and then once you get that, that'll help with the crossovers. Now, let's take a look. On this side, you only need one hand, but you went to two because somebody's yelling at you two hands all the time. I can guarantee it. Okay, now look at your stick. It's not even on the ice. You can't even play the puck. All right, so we want you to try to go one hand on this side. Again, we want the shoulder higher, so we want the shoulders level, and we want you to turn your chest into the circle. And then work on those two pushes. See, we're not really getting two pushes, we're kind of just stepping. See, step, step, step. We want you to get pushes. Sorry about that. All right, let's back up and I'll show you. See, it takes you way too many crossovers. See, if you do big pushes, it should only take someone, maybe, it takes someone my size, 4 to 5 crossovers. That's 8 to 10 pushes. Someone like you would probably take 5 to 6 crossovers if you do big, powerful crossovers. Okay, so that's only anywhere from 10 to 12 pushes. Okay, now let's take a look at your hockey stops. So you have these dots here. I want you to get your feet as wide as the dot. If I were standing here and I push you with my strong finger, I'd knock you over, right? Try to get your feet nice and wide. Look how long it took you to stop, right? We want to stop much quicker than that. See, somebody else did this stop here. If you look at the ice here, you see this scrape right there? It took them, they started here and they ended there. That's taking too long. Right? We want you to stop quickly, get your weight on that front foot, which is the inside edge. Okay? So now look at your crossover. See how you don't really get a lot of distance? You actually ended up slipping on that X. You didn't really go anywhere. And where's your stick again? It's off the ice. So we stop. Okay? We're flipping our hips like this. Okay? Then what I want you to do is turn your chest. Take the bottom hand off your stick first. Then turn your chest the direction you're going. But I still want the shoulder higher, right? Shoulders have to be level because lower body's leaning in, upper body has to lean out. Okay, so you're going to turn your chest, take the bottom hand off, and then cross over. Okay, so we want your chest to lead the way. Now let's take a look at this side. Ready? Okay, stick came off the ice again, right? And took you too long to stop. Feet are too close together. See, you have this dot here. So we want your feet as wide as the dot. And then when you push, we want you to push against your grip, not with your grip. Watch your X. See? You didn't get very far. We want you to get much further. See how you slip on that X? That's a big slip, right? So we don't want to slip. Now, I want you to extend your leg. Good. This is good extension. This is pretty good knee bend. We get a little bit lower, shoulders in line with the knee, but you see how the knee's not over the toe? And then take a look at your body angle. Remember that Chris Kreider picture we showed you on the ice? His body angle is at 45-degree angle. All right, let me draw that from there. So his body was in here. Your body right now is up here. So we want you to try to get that body angle. So we want you to get lower, right? First, you got to bend this knee over this toe. That'll get you lower, and we want you to keep your shoulder in line with your knee when you do that. What happens when you do that is you get more extension on the stride, so you don't need as many pushes, okay? All right, and I'm going to show you one more thing, because you're going to understand this. Let me draw it like this. Watch your head. See how you pop up to stop? We want you to stay low. I want you to think of the analogy of a pop-up in baseball. If you hit the ball and it pops up, it's much slower than if somebody hit a line drive. You want to try to keep your head level when you stop. You don't want to pop up, okay? And this is pretty common. A lot of players pop up, all right? So a couple things here, all right, I want you to focus on. One, I want you to practice drag touch, okay, as much as you can. And make sure you make your V diamond, you push to full extension, and pull it all the way in and touch your heels, okay? And then focus on the arm swing. Try to keep the arm swing. Whoop, I meant to do a line. So the right arm's got to stay on the right side and the left arm's got to stay on the left side. We always want this palm to face up, okay? So your arm on your right arm's palms up right now when you're pushing with your right leg, and then palm up on this one too. So you got to get this palm up to the ceiling. So you're going to turn your thumb towards your body and then throw your fingers straight up. But this arm here, like a poke check, all right? We want you to punch that arm out and get your palm to face the ceiling, right? See how your palm right now is facing that side. That's why the stick's going over there. We want that stick to stay on this side. All right, remember, plate of glass down the middle of your body. You don't want to break it if your arms come across, okay? Backward C cuts. I want you to focus on that L, okay? I want you to push up and around, repivot the heel, pull it all the way back in. Get those feet to touch. Go a little bit slower. The more you get your feet to touch, you'll muscle memorize that, right? So we'll make sure of that. Now, crossovers, remember we have two pushes. All right, I made you guys drag and then do the X. See, this is a much better stride here, but we're not getting a big X. So remember, if you don't get both pushes on your crossover, right, you lose 50% of your speed. You have your stride and you have your X push, right? You got to get both pushes, okay? And then make sure you adjust your hands and turn your chest towards the center dot, okay? So on this side, one hand, and that'll help with the pushes too, okay? And then your hockey stops, we want them much wider. Get your feet wider, all right? Much wider than that. That way nobody can knock you over, and you get a big crossover, okay? All right. All right, Brayden, you did really well this weekend. We had a lot of fun with you. You had all the answers, and you're skating well. And now you just got to work on power here. So make sure you push the full extension, right? And you should have. I would think you're going to have a great season, score a lot of goals. All right, buddy, great job. It was a pleasure working with you.